B such as folic acid, vitamin C, D, and E. McDowell's Potassium Complex, used for treating and preventing low potassium levels, high blood pressure, preventing stroke, and aiding weight loss. McDowell's Triple Magnesium relaxes the muscles, relieves cramps and helps to control high blood pressure, improves sleep, and can calm the nerves. Magnesium is very important for the normal functioning of cells, nerves, muscles, bones, and the heart. McDowell's Ginger Turmeric helps to relieve pain, decrease nausea and enhance the immune function to help protect against illness and infection. Ginger turmeric has powerful anti-inflammatory properties and improves your circulation. Don't hold health back. Let health strike back. McDowell's, the better way to start your health. Visit Health Service Center, John Compton Highway, call 453-6417. Let your wellness be our stress.
The voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluffs. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
Another wonderful Thursday afternoon to you, everyone. Thank you so very much for tuning to and staying with Real FM Radio, coming to you on the dual frequencies of 91.3 for the north and 91.5 south. And we also simulcast this program, The Real Issues with me, Shelton Daniel, on NBC Television, Channel 120 on the Flow Cable TV service, as well as on Facebook Live and live streaming on YouTube. I'm Shelton Daniel, your host and producer, alongside Jaquan, our technical operator. This program airs weekdays from 12:30 until 2 p.m. on the above mentioned platforms. It's looking like another of those wonderful, if by that we mean bright and sunny days. Yes, the month of May bringing it out in fullness. And, the heat is a small price to pay. We are accustomed with that already, aren't we? Although I'll be telling you something about climate change and how scientists consider themselves to be, in the words of one of them, hopeless and broken, that the problem of climate change is not being taken seriously enough. Let me just tell you that due to the ongoing jazz events, I have seen an announcement put out by Honorable Richard Frederick that, in his words, we will not be competing with one of the world's top 10 events, and he's talking about the St. Lucia Jazz Festival. Therefore, there will be no Can I Help You program tonight. All right, so no Can I Help You tonight, 8:30. Not surprising, Honorable Richard Frederick says he does not want to be competing with something as premium, as prestigious, as highly ranked, as world famous and popular as the St. Lucia Jazz and Arts Festival. Other information is that the Senate is meeting today, and of course the Senate as a house of review, the second upper tier of our legislative institution, the Parliament, is in session today and would of course be considering what was dealt with by the House on Tuesday. All right, so I did promise you that I'll be having an interview today, and that's carded for the next 6 minutes or so. We'll be starting, and the person is the Director of Trade and Industry in the Ministry of Commerce, Business Development, Manufacturing and Cooperatives. His name is Mr. Esley Laffey. So we'll be having Mr. Laffey, and the main substance of our conversation will be about a business license. What is it? Who needs it? And how do you go about getting it? And of course, we'll go into other matters as well as part of that conversation. I told you that this week I'll be putting a heavy focus on business matters, going into business, starting a business, getting involved, getting the support and so on, taking advantage of the economic opportunities that are here, and trying to break that mold that seems to have had us captive for a long time, if only in perception, that business, successful business, big business, popular business, business that we really consider indispensable to our lives, that it is the main, if not exclusive, preserve of a certain socio-economic class or elite in St. Lucia. I believe Philip J. Pierre and his administration are doing their best to see to it that St. Lucians get a break to go into business and give them a good chance of succeeding at it. And of course, those who were considered mostly inferior in the lower tier, marginalized and so on, including young people. I cannot remember a time where young people were regarded and there was the confidence in them to have them set up in business and to help them to get a start. This concept of the youth economy, somebody tell me if they know of anywhere else where this has been embraced, where this has been made a policy plank, a policy platform, that it has become something which a government has put its weight, its muscle, its resources behind to establish a youth economy, encouraging young people to go into business and giving them the support and the hand-holding they require than in St. Lucia. If you know of anywhere else where it has been tried, where it has succeeded, where it has even failed, please send me a message and make a call to us after the interview with Mr. Esley Dafay is over. Let's hope everything works out well. When it comes to climate change, I won't read the whole article, at least not just now, but it is published in The Guardian online under the theme Climate Crisis, and they say we asked 380 top climate scientists what they felt about the future. They are terrified but determined to keep fighting. And it says, it's putting out a few little quotes from them, the blurbs. I worry about the future my children are inheriting. We live in an age of fools. We are helpless and heartbroken. All right. And it's written by Damian Carrington, the environmental editor of The Guardian. And it's dated Wednesday, May 8th, 2024. Let me just read one or two paragraphs. It says, sometimes it is almost impossible not to feel hopeless and broken, says the climate scientist Ruth Cerezo Mota. After all the flooding, fires and droughts of the last 3 years worldwide, all related to climate change, and after the fury of Hurricane Otis in Mexico, my country, I really thought, in Mexico, my country, she means her country, I really thought governments would listen to the science to act in the people's best interest. End of quote. Instead, Cerezo Mota expects the world to heat by a catastrophic 3 degrees centigrade this century, soaring past the internationally agreed 1.5 degrees centigrade target and delivering enormous suffering to billions of people. This is her optimistic view, she says. Quote again, the breaking point for me was a meeting in Singapore, says Cerezo Mota, an expert in climate modeling at the National Autonomous University of Mexico. There she listened to other global experts spell out the connection between rising global temperatures and heat waves, fires, storms, and floods hurting people, not at the end of the century, but today. That was when everything clicked. I got a depression, she says. I was in a very dark point in my life. I was unable to do anything and was just sort of surviving. Cerezo Mota recovered to continue her work. We keep doing it because we have to do it, so the powerful cannot say that they didn't know. We know what we're talking about. They can say they don't care, but they can't say they didn't know. I'm going to read more of that a little later as time permits. But you see this thing about dissing the climate science and the statistics and the data that the scientists are researching and presenting, a la Donald Trump. A lot of us are in the same Donald Trump, George Bush frame of mind, It's all fake, Kyoto Protocol and all. We're pulling out of that. This is all fake news, and the scientists. It seems we are now living in a world that is set up to basically poo-poo and to how you call that? Not disprove, but basically to discredit any information that is coming out of science now and to make it look that they are involved in a grand conspiracy against mankind to fool us, to bluff us, to plant microchips in us, to lead us astray. Like scientists and doctors and so on are now in some giant, conspiracy of enmity against us, their family, their friends, people they've known. And I saw that on display during the COVID pandemic, that there just seemed to be a big push, to discredit doctors and scientists and those people. And I said, I wonder if many of us who are engaging in that, if we realize we are being part of the very same conspiracy of sorts that we ourselves believe we are being targeted by, of people who want to cause us to lay absolutely no credence with what doctors and scientists are saying, as much with climate change as with the COVID pandemic and the need for vaccines and immunization and that sort of thing. It just seems to be something that has grown in the world, a paranoia that people in power, politicians, public officials, but let's leave out politicians, public officials, scientists, doctors and so on, that they all trying to bluff us, they all trying to fool us, they all on some kind of thing to gain mind control over us and so on. And many of us may not realize that there is a connection to it, and it is based to a group of people, not necessarily connected in terms of organizational cohesion or whatever, moving in sync with each other, but they are called anarchists, anarchic people who just want to overthrow and or throw into total chaos the established order so that their own agendas can be advanced. But we'll talk about that even more. The best way to advance your conspiracy is to accuse everybody else of being in a conspiracy. The best way to hide the fact that you are a volé, you are a thief, is to go calling everybody else volé. I remember the story I was told many years ago about somebody who snatched something from one of the city stores. I don't know if it's M&C or whatever, a shoplifter. He took something, and one of the security guards, a couple of them saw him, and they chased him, and they were shouting, "Bow away!" You know what the shoplifter was doing? He is running ahead of them, and he's shouting, "Bow away!" And he's pointing ahead like there's somebody ahead of him. So like he's actually working with the two security guards who were chasing him. And there is a lot of this happening in our world, in our St. Lucia, of people who are the worst thieves and swindlers and embezzlers and all of what you can talk about, who are doing the most bubble and so on. But the way that they hope to get by and to escape with it is to divert attention away from themselves and to accuse many other people of being thieves and stealing and giving away our money. I'm sure you can think of a few people like that in our country. And we have to be careful that we are not falling prey, that we are not being ensnared by people like that on a grand international scale. Okay, so let me call Mr. Esley Lafay, the Director of Trade and Industry in the Ministry of Commerce. Is probably standing by now waiting for my call, and I hope that he's all ready. All right, let's see if we can get that now. Right. Okay.
Good evening.
Hi, good afternoon, Mr. Esley Lafay.
Hi, how are you doing, Mr. Daniel?
Okay, I'm doing okay. All right, Mr. Lafay, I've already primed and prepped my audience to expect our conversation with the Director of Trade and Industry. So thank you so very much for accepting and for being on the line with us.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Okay. Mr. Lafay, I indicated to you that one of the starting points that I wanted to take in this discussion with you was the matter of a trade license. Is that what it is called? Can you tell us what is a trade license, who needs it, and how they can it? I'm putting three questions into one. What is a trade license, who needs it, and how do they get started in obtaining one?
A trade license, as per the Trade License Act of St. Lucia, is a license that allows foreign companies to operate in St. Lucia. And so I think that answers maybe two parts of your question.
So the first point is that it is foreign companies.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
And I should further qualify that when we say a foreign company, according to the Act, it's companies that are owned or controlled by non-national, non-CARICOM nationals.
Okay.
Right. So anyone who's not a citizen of CARICOM who owns or operates a business in St. Lucia would require a trade license that would allow them to operate.
Okay. What about if it is a partnership? If it is one that a St. Lucian or a CARICOM person has some stake in it, but the overwhelming majority of the shares or whatever in it is owned by a non-CARICOM person or entity. Does that complicate things there?
No, it doesn't. So that goes in hand with the definition, owned or controlled. So we look at who is the majority owner.
Okay.
So anybody, if it is more than 50% owned by a foreign national, it is owned by that foreign national. If it is maybe a public trading company which has shareholders all over the place, but then you look at the directors, the chairman of the board, etc. Is he is controlling it? So is he a CARICOM national? And that would detail it from there.
Okay. So when one comes, okay, we've already said who is the person. How do they go about applying for and getting a trade license? Is it a lengthy, is it a complicated process that is require a lot of background research and checking and so on, and the fees associated with it?
It is not a lengthy process. It is that is dependent on the level of consultation and due diligence that needs to be done, based on the type of based on what sector they're going to go into, etc. So if it's so for example, we have a lot of what we call business process outsourcing, or what you would say in local parlance as a call centers here. Most of them are owned by foreign nationals, and we know what they are, what they bring in, etc. We work with other departments, for example, Invest St. Lucia, who invites them to St. Lucia. Or even I can say, as an example of a hotel, these are straightforward. They don't require too much consultation. But there may be some that are a bit more complex. So if somebody is going into engineering, you have your engineering registrations board that you would have to do some consultation with. You may have to do some for smaller villas, etc. You may have to do some consultation with the Ministry of Tourism, and so that can take a little bit of time based on the sector that they're going into. But apart from that, the process is more or less seamless. The applications come to myself, and I table them through our trade license board, and the final approval is by the Honorable Minister for Commerce.
Okay, wow. So you, as the Director of Trade and Industry, would be the first point of contact where receipt of this application is concerned?
Yes.
Then it goes to the board.
Mm-hmm.
So what would be your role in recommending to the board that this be favorably considered, or giving them all what has been presented to you, and they make the decision? I mean, are you the first point of recommendation or decision making and the board ratifies it? Tell us about the different tiers that you've mentioned there.
All right. So I also serve as the secretary to the board.
Okay.
And so my role is to receive the information, to make any investigations that are needed through my team at Commerce and Industry, and then to table the matter to the board with our findings. The board is what we call an advisory board. So the board does not approve. The board is made up of private sector and public sector persons, and it is an advisory board that would then recommend or not recommend an application to the minister, and the minister gives the final approval. That is the process as it is now.
All right. Okay, tell me about this business model of what we call the franchising. For example, it's I mean, we can mention names, although I'll choose not to. But you know, fast food chains, different types of businesses that have this international branding and international reputation and so on. They are high repute, they have a success story behind them, but locals come and they become the local partners or agents for them in St. Lucia. How would a trade license for a franchise, which while the branding is international and so on, but the actual investor is local and so on, would it be treated as not needing a trade license, or it would, yeah?
Yeah, it would be, it would not require a trade license.
Okay.
The owner, operator is the local franchisee.
Okay.
Right? So this person is operating a franchise. They have a contract with a foreign company. Under that contract, there are certain obligations that they make, but they are the ones who own or operate the franchise. So you can use any local franchise that you want. Most of them right now are owned by CARICOM nationals.
Okay. Would someone who has qualified to be in St. Lucia under the CIP program, for example, and they want to set up some enterprise related with, I suppose, their citizenship by investment process and so on, would they be exempted from the trade license because of the CIP process that they've been through? Or would they still have to go through, the trade licensing board and yourself, etc.? I think you understand what I'm asking.
Yes, I understand. Under the citizenship by investment program, they become citizens, and so by virtue of that, a trade license is no longer required.
Okay, all right, because
that takes care of it. So that really gets around the trade licensing act.
Okay, all right. How frequent or how often, do you find requests for trade licensing having to be declined, and what would be some of the main reasons why you would find them being declined?
We have not had too many cases of decline, but there are several reasons why the board may not recommend approval, or the minister herself would not approve trade license. For one, we do what we call due diligence checks. We do background checks on who the investors are, and so if we find that somebody has a bit of a shady background, so to speak, then that of course has to be taken into consideration. You're looking at your anti-money laundering and other acts that you must consider there, and what is good for the business community in St. Lucia. So that is one reason why it may not be approved. Sometimes we believe, based on our needs assessment, that we do not need to have a foreign investor coming to a particular sector. So, for example, we believe that we have sufficient barber shops and beauty salons in St. Lucia. Why would I need a foreign investor to come in to St. Lucia and operate a barber shop? Unless they're bringing in some new technologies and new skills that we don't already have in St. Lucia, we may not recommend that. You have also what you call the areas reserved for nationals, and that is a topic of a bit of contention, where you try to reserve a few productive areas specific to nationals, and you look at the size of the operations, etc. That you do not necessarily want all of your productive.
Can you give us one or two examples of those areas, so our listeners, our audience, can better understand what we're talking about?
So construction, we have sufficient contractors, etc. Unless there are some major jobs that we do not necessarily have the capacity or skills to provide, that may be an area reserved for nationals. I mentioned earlier the beauty shops, the salons, etc., where we have sufficient capacity, so that is an area reserved for national. Incidentally, I should mention that the Trade License Act is currently under review, and so we have what we call a draft bill that we are putting through the rounds and doing the consultations. One area of contention on that is the villas, bed and breakfast, smaller accommodation type operations. And so, I mean, there's a lot of debate on it, where you have a lot of foreign nationals who come in and they have a small apartment that they're only in St. Lucia for a few months, and so for the rest of the year they would want to rent that out. And basically that is trading in St. Lucia, right? So trading in St. Lucia, you require a trade license. Should that be an area that is reserved for nationals, or should we allow foreigners to come in and be able to operate in that space? And so you have a bit of back and forth on that. And we are going through the consultation process on that with both the private sector and our public sector partners to go into that. So there are quite a number of areas, and it is not just one broad area. So under an area, you may look at certain thresholds. So for example, we may say that any accommodation below a certain level of investment or below a certain capacity should be reserved for nationals, and that sort of thing. But these things are also always looked at very closely. The potential for new investment coming into St. Lucia, also you try to balance that against ensuring that you have local capacity, and you have locals being able to invest in their own countries. Then Lucia.
All right. When these foreign investors, if I can say so, come and they acquire the trade license and so on, are there any restrictions that are placed upon them despite having the trade license? Because as you were speaking about the certain sectors that you're trying to reserve for locals, I figured if I am a foreign business person who comes in, establishes a business legitimately, got my trade license, I want to move into certain areas, but they're kind of reserved. To me, the best thing I would want to do is to go and form some kind of partnership, or merger or whatever with a local, even if it's to have the local fronting for me. But I am really, the hand behind, if you understand what I'm saying, to get into that. So are there any restrictions based in terms of how they can get into, doing some little partnership with locals and so on, so that it will allow them to move in?
Okay. Well, for one, when we look at the trade license or we issue a trade license, we limit to a certain scope of operations. So if I have approved a trade license for some service, some engineering service, I don't expect you to be retailing under that trade license. You are outside of your scope. So that gives a bit of control there. With regards to the issue of fronting,
subcontracting, outsourcing, whatever you call it, there are different ways people can use to beat.
Well, I mean, I understand what you're saying, and you will always have persons who try to beat the system. I would warn any national of doing that, because you're doing a disservice to your country and to yourself. There's nothing to gain from that. I mean, you're allowing. You're allowing an entity that is owned by a foreign national to operate in Solution and compete with your fellow nationals, and not going through the relevant due diligence. So those companies, once we find that out, they will be taken to task according to the laws of St. Lucia. But having said that, I mean, our means of controlling that as well would be, again, limiting the scope of operations and requesting the relevant documentation. So it is not that you can just say that Shelton is the owner, whereas it's a U.S. national backing it. I would want to see the legal documents to show that Shelton owns 51% stake.
Okay.
You understand? And once we have that, and once Shelton has that, then this other person can say what they want. They could have invested how much they want. Legally, it is owned by Shelton, so he can. So they are now putting themselves at risk, and so that in itself deters any investor from trying to go down that road.
Okay. Are there any situations where it can get bad enough that the sanction applied can be withdrawal or cancellation of the trade license? Does that ever happen? Has it ever happened? And what would be the extenuating or extreme circumstance in which such a measure would be considered necessary?
Okay, so apart from issuing trade license to new investors coming in, there is also the obligation of a renewal of trade license. So a trade license is renewed every year, and the relevant fees being incurred. Part of the renewal process is that we ensure that that company meets all other regulations pursuant to their specific sector or industry. You have some cross-cutting ones. So, for example, Inland Revenue, NIC, Labor Department. You want to make sure that that company has no issues there, that they've paid all of their taxes, they're on board with the NIC and are paying that for their staff. There are no labor issues that are ongoing, and we try to make sure that they meet those standards. They do the filing with the registry of companies. We also look at whether or not and again, some other industry-specific regulations. So if you're into education, you would need an education permits for our offshore tertiary institutions. If you're dealing in petroleum, you need a petroleum license. That type of thing. So there may be other specific requirements specific to the industry, but we ensure that those companies meet all of those things and they are in good standing with all of the regulations. so that they can continue to operate there. And that is a way of protecting our citizenry.
Okay.
You don't want a foreign company being able to get up and jump ship and go in NIC, and their employees are left to rot. And that is where the Trade License Act and the Trade License Mechanism gives some type of protection to that as well.
Okay. Some time ago, we had something which is not related to trade license, but it occurs to me that at times you have an agreement or an arrangement in place, a lease. We had this CDC situation where a woman who was the legal lessee, the person to whom a CDC apartment was rented, passing away, and there being, it seems, an assumption on the part of her offspring that they could just move in, and just take over. In the case of a trade license, is there anything in the legislation which says that, look, if the original entity or person or whatever who applied for and was granted the trade license ceases to own the business or relocates or whatever it is, basically that the business, that you don't have a situation of somebody else, whether an employee, a trusted long-term one who was liked by the owner and so on, just moving in and just taking over without a formal process of transfer or something of that kind. Are there any provisions for that, or once the business is going on, it doesn't matter who's involved, it can just go on?
Well, yes, there are provisions for that. I should personally say that most of the trade license applications are for companies. Mm-hmm. Now, a company is what you call its own legal person.
Yes.
All right. So it is not necessarily based on a specific person.
Okay.
We do the due diligence on all shareholders and what we call beneficial owners and directors.
Okay.
Right. If there is a change to the beneficial owners or directors, that must be reported.
Okay.
And we do the due diligence on those new persons.
Okay.
As well. So again, you want to make sure that you don't have persons who be involved in money laundering or other illicit activity.
Okay.
Necessarily being able to trade
come in and quietly taking over the business. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So there is provision for that.
All right. In addition to that, let me just ask you, how beneficial in terms of revenue is the trade license regime for the government of St. Lucia? How much would it cost somebody to be granted a trade license and the renewal and so on? What are the fees associated with it as we now speak?
Okay, the trade license regime is not really geared towards being income generator for government, but rather more regulatory and compliance based. So the current trade license fee is only $1,000 annually.
Okay.
1,000 EC annually. That is under review under the trade license bill, as we said. But the main goal of this is not to generate revenue. I mean, government generates revenue from foreign entities through the taxes they pay, through the taxes that their employees pay when they create employment. So you're looking at more of the socio and economic and even environmental benefits of foreign investment coming to St. Lucia to help grow the economy and mobilize the economic resources, and not necessarily just to be able to charge them and make some big revenue that way. So that is not the aim.
Like we would say in St. Lucia, you don't want to fawushe them too much. Mr. Lavey, let me just go into one other little area. I don't know if it is within your remit and so on, but would you say there are any advantages that local businesses, local entrepreneurs and investors not needing a trade license that they can take advantage of? I'm asking that because it's been suggested in conversations I've had with people that maybe one of the weaknesses of our local prospects where business development and investment are concerned is that they don't seem to be very merger and consolidation minded, in terms of, okay, I have this small operation, you have this small one, let us come together, let us merge so that we can make a bigger, cost-effective operation or whatever it is and so on. Do you believe that there are advantages to being locals and CARICOM people that we are not sufficiently exploiting?
Yes, of course there are. The areas reserved for national, that's an advantage to nationals.
Okay.
You don't have the annual process of trade licensing to go through. I think what I would say is the major issue for locals is, we have, when you look at our population of businesses, we are over 76% micro, small, medium enterprises, so very small businesses. Yes, you're right. I mean that we are not very mindful to consider mergers as a means of growth.
So that we can achieve bigger of what I think are called economies of scale and so on, that we can have.
Yes. So to bring your resources together. And I note in that conversation too that we must consider that issues of access to capital persist. And that's why you have the government doing programs like the MSME loan grant facility that's ongoing through the Ministry of Commerce, and even the youth economy, to try to bring capital to budding entrepreneurs. And also those programs are not just, I mean, the funding is limited in terms of how much they can receive in the first instance, but under both of those programs, one of the strategies is to also get those entities into a space where they are more attractive to financial institutions and to investors in the future. By helping them to keep records, by helping their management systems, and so you put them in a place where now you are able to go to the bank for more capital to grow your business. And so we have considered that approach, and we will continue with that approach, and also trying to work with the financial institutions as to how to drive capital to local entrepreneurs. I think the only sometimes the only I would say advantage to a foreign national coming in is that they may have more access to capital and can take advantage of business opportunities than our locals can, and that is sad. But you have to also look at what the government can do to help them, and as I mentioned, in terms of some of the programs that are now running, and what our business owners and entrepreneurs can do for themselves in terms of better positioning themselves to attract investment. And you rightly mentioned considering mergers and partnerships as one means, proper management, record keeping, etc. You know how many small businesses we have in St. Lucia that are not banked, and the problems that causes for them. I mean, if you don't even have a bank account, when you want a loan, you have to scratch your head. The bank has no record.
Many of them have been run like the old style mom and pop shops and so on.
Yes, and so that is what we deal with. And I know you have spoken recently with my colleague from the small enterprise unit, who tries his best to work with them. So under the Ministry of Commerce, I mean, a lot of work has been done over the years to try to really get some of these businesses to a level where they can better attract investment, they can better operate and can scale their operations. I mean, it sometimes it seems an uphill battle, but you have some wins and you have some businesses that are growing steadily under that.
Okay, so your particular unit, as Director of Trade and Industry, or whatever the unit or section of the ministry, what really is, apart from the trade licenses spoken about, what really do you do in terms of helping to give some catalyst to this process and so on that we're speaking about, in terms of really encouraging and stimulating enterprise in St. Lucia and so on? If you can just tell us for your particular section.
The Commerce and Industry unit is really the flagship unit of the ministry. We are engaged in developing and implementing the policies to facilitate private sector development. That is really the mandate of the ministry across its various departments, and Commerce and Industry is central to that. So we take a sector approach to looking at each productive sector and how we can work with them to help them develop. Apart from trade licensing, one of our other services is incentivizing operations. So we also implement the fiscal incentives regime of St. Lucia, where you offer duty-free concessions, income tax waivers, etc., to companies as a means of aiding their growth and development. Apart from that, you also look at different policies, etc., that would help, and different policies and programs that would help grow specific industries and sectors. So that is the core work that we do.
All right. Thank you so very much, for explaining and clarifying as much as you have for us today, Mr. Lafayette. I don't know if there's anything further you wanted to mention that of your own discretion.
Well, I just want to send a plug-in for the MSME Loan Grant Program, and I know my colleague from CEDO may have done that already, but I think it's a very exciting program for our small businesses, and I want to encourage them to take advantage of it, not just as a means of getting funding now to help their operations, but also in terms of the technical component of that project, of that program, which looks at training, consultancy to help position those businesses to grow and to be able to attract additional investment as they may need in the future to scale their operations.
Thank you so very much. Yes.
Another item, I did mention is that we also run what we call the Love St. Lucia program, which is what you call a sort of a buy local campaign that encourages St. Lucians to support local businesses, support local entrepreneurs, local products and services, as you may see them in the supermarkets and other stores. We try to promote them also through our annual trade shows and various expos. You note the Independence Expo that we host in the town center. Right now, we have officers going to the schools, and we're also this year trying to put some programs in place to have our students visit manufacturers and to get an idea of how things are made, all in an effort to help educate our consumers the need to invest local, to need to support local. During the COVID pandemic, Shelton, I don't want to take too much time, but during the COVID pandemic, you saw that there were distortions in international trade. Some products we could not get. And that's, I mean, during that, it has always been there, but that set on the light bulb that, hey, we cannot always depend on imports. We need to build our resilience. We need to build our productive capacity in St. Lucia. But during the next COVID or the next pandemic, God forbid, that we don't have to depend always on imports, that we can produce and move towards self-sufficiency. I know that the Ministry of Agriculture is also doing good work on that with regards to looking at food security. And that is part of it.
Okay. Very interesting, very fascinating, I would say. Thank you so very much, Mr. Esley Lafay, Director of Trade and Industry in the Ministry of Commerce, Business Development, Manufacturing and Cooperatives. Really appreciate your taking the time to share with us today. All the best to you, sir, and to your unit.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Daniel. Thank you, and then thank you to your audience.
Okay. All right, we are way overdue for a commercial break. We'll take it. And when we come back, what more can we do? Telephone lines will be open for your calls, reading some of your messages, as I know that today I have to share you with the Senate, but it comes with the territory, and we always get by well without that. Don't go away. Real Issues is on.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with big issues. Big issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
McDowell Supplements, an effective way to ensure you and your loved ones are getting the daily recommended intake of essential vitamins, minerals, and other important nutrients necessary for optimal health. Naturally, we carry an array of health and wellness supplements. McDowell's Immune Booster enhances your body's defense to fight colds and flu, boosts your immune system, prevents viruses and other airborne diseases. McDowell's Colon Cleanser prevents constipation, helps in removing toxins from the colon, detoxifies the body, and regulates your bowel movements. McDowell's Prostate Health prevent the enlargement of the prostate, improve urinary flow, and reduce frequent urination, especially at night. Moringa oleifera capsules are rich in minerals like calcium, potassium, zinc, magnesium, iron, and copper, vitamins like beta-carotene, vitamin A, vitamin B such as folic acid, vitamin C, D, and E. McDowell's Potassium Complex, used for treating and preventing low potassium levels, high blood pressure, preventing stroke, and aid in weight loss. McDowell's Triple Magnesium relaxes the muscles, relieves cramps and helps to control high blood pressure, improves sleep, and can calm the nerves. Magnesium is very important for the normal functioning of cells, nerves, muscles, bones, and the heart. McDowell's Ginger Turmeric helps to relieve pain, decrease nausea and enhance the immune function to help protect against illness and infection. Ginger turmeric has powerful anti-inflammatory properties and improves your circulation. Don't hold health back. Let health strike back. McDowell's, the better way to start your health. Visit Health Service Center, John Compton Highway, call 453-6417. Let your wellness be our stress.
Why are you suffering from aches, pains, and illnesses? When there's help for you. At Health Service Center, we offer a wide range of treatment that has been scientifically proven to help you with your aches, pains, and illnesses. Our ICT machine is one of the most effective devices in the health field. It has shown positive results in many health problems, such as back pains, shoulder pains, migraine headaches, pain in the knees and legs, poor circulation, arthritis, diabetic neuropathy, numbness in the feet, strokes and sports injuries. ICT, repairs, rebuild, the power to heal, the future of pain relief.
It is well known that diseases like diabetes, high blood pressure, and other illnesses may restrict blood flow, which can lead to impotence and erectile dysfunction. This is why Enhance was formulated to meet these challenging health problems, which can reduce your ability to perform. If you're having problems maintaining your manhood, then reclaim your manhood today with Enhance. Enhance increases your energy level, boosts your stamina, and increases your endurance.
You can get your Enhance at Southwell VA4, Restorer Pharmacy Soufre, Knights Med Miku, Lay By Bar The Morn, Dexter's Place Jeremy Street Castries, Citygate Bar The City opposite the market, Plants Place Denry Highway, Arlette Supermarket Soufre, The Release Stress Bar Labrie Highway, Cool Joint Bar Victoria Schwazel, Prios Bus Stop 22, next to the Moshi Bus Stop opposite the Grosile Bus Stop, Prios Bar and Grill in Corinth, Grosile.
Enhance, the best a man can get.
Live streaming has become one of the best ways to connect the funeral of a loved one with friends and family, both local and international. NBC Television will live stream your funerals on television and Facebook at a reasonable rate. With our state-of-the-art equipment, you can be assured that the quality of your funeral will be to your satisfaction. Call our office now and book your obituary and streaming with us. 758-453-7458.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM. The man.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with The Real Issues. Today, Thursday, it is the 9th of May, 2024. The telephone lines are open to take your calls, and I'll be reading some of your messages as well. The numbers to dial, you can WhatsApp call us on 758-724-7325. That's 724-7325. You can WhatsApp call us on that, and you can call us direct on the landline number 4533911. There is a nice message that I got. Let me read that. Someone says, "Hi Shelton, trust you are doing well this beautiful day God has given us. I will do the sandwich method. Positive, negative, positive. Kingdom night was wonderful. It is great. It is a great idea to have a night of praise and worship to our Creator, part of Jazz and Arts Festival. Our local artists were excellent, especially Urban Praise, and the original artists were beautiful. Last year and this year had an anticlimax. The artists before the headline had the crowd fully engaged. Don't get me wrong, praise and worship brings peace of mind. To the organizers, they need to start earlier and on time. A praise and worship show should not end so late. To the organizers, here are a few to consider for next year. Tasha Cobbs, Naomi Rain, Jonathan McReynolds, Nicole C. Mullen, Charity Gale, or even Sissy Winans. Is it Winans or Winans? That's supposed to be, who's that? Whitney Houston's mom or something? Or even Sissy Winans, who came last year. I should have known. Alright, so folks, that's a nice message. And I've been hearing critiques of the Jazz Festival. Alright, see that? Someone has just sent me a link. Says AstraZeneca withdraws its COVID-19 vaccine worldwide. More than 3 billion doses of the vaccine supplied during early stage pandemic. AstraZeneca says it is withdrawing Vaxzevria, its vaccine to protect against COVID-19 from global markets. The vaccine was used early on in the pandemic in many countries, including Canada. In an update on the European Medicines Agency's website on Wednesday, the regulator said that the approval for Vaxzevria had been withdrawn at the request of the marketing authorization holder. More than 3 billion doses of the vaccine have been supplied since it was first administered in the United Kingdom in 2021. AstraZeneca said as multiple vaccines against newer variants of the pandemic coronavirus have been developed, there is a surplus. Demand for Vaxzevria declined, and the company said it is no longer being manufactured or supplied. All right. Dr. Samir Gupta, a respirologist at St. Michael's Hospital in Toronto, said what's important is that the creation of the AstraZeneca vaccine, testing rollout, discovery of complications, and stopping of vaccine distribution played out as it should for a new pandemic virus. According to media reports, AstraZeneca previously admitted in court documents that the vaccine can cause rare side effects such as blood clots and low blood platelet counts. Ultimately, we can't forget that the virus is worse than the vaccine, even with this complication, Gupta said in an interview on CBC News Network. AstraZeneca's application to withdraw the vaccine was made on March 5th and came into effect on May 7th, according to the Telegraph, which first reported the development. The Serum Institute of India, SII, which produced AstraZeneca's COVID-19 vaccine under the brand name Covishield, stopped the manufacturing and supply of the doses since December 2021, an SII spokesman said. Alright, so that's a development. Now, I was reading something earlier. Hey, folks, I said the phone lines are open for your calls. 724-7325 and 4533-911. Do we have a call on the line? Oh, okay. Baseball bat to your head, and Jaquan, for later. All right, caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm not too bad, thank you. What about you?
I'm doing great. Today is one of my better days.
Today's one of your better days.
Yeah, it is.
I remember better days.
Better days.
And yes, very well stated. Forget your the you part of it, but the better days part. Yes, yes. Listen, Shelton, over the last couple of days, from the opening of jazz to last night, we continue to see that we've got what it takes. We have got what it takes. Our local artists have been placing us up there, and they can represent us anywhere. The local acts at the opening, big up you all. The local artists, local acts, man, come on, last night, hello somebody. I did not get the first part, but I got Nigella Sinclair Daniel. You remember her, right, Shelton?
Nigella Sinclair Daniel.
Yes.
All right, that has to be family. Go ahead.
Not necessarily so, but the youth program on Radio Solution.
Yeah, okay. I don't quite remember, but has to be family. Has to be blood.
Well, based on the testimony she gave, no, she's not. But anyway, moving along. Shelton, this lady, let me tell you, they could have just placed her as the headline. I'm a big Donnie McClurkin fan. I am.
Yes.
When MD card kini Mizi Donnie McClurkin. But I think that last night for me, Nigella had it down pat. She gave testimonies and I mean, she had the crowd, man. Nigella Sinclair Daniel did it. She did it. And I would have placed Nigella where Mavia Providence was and put Mavia Providence down the line. And Carlin Davis, yeah, man. Carlin Davis coming from reggae and then moving into gospel. Last night she was good. She was great. She was great. I think the original acts were better than the headline act, because what I expected of Donnie McClurkin, I'm not saying that he was not good, but what I expected of Donnie McClurkin, although he did for me what I anticipated, but it was missing something. He could have,
like they say, it lacked that little extra oomph.
Yes. You know, like he's as a pastor, minister of the word, man. You the headline act, man.
Yeah.
In as much as he said he was tired, but Patty wanna come into solution, huh? You know. But last night, yes. And I do agree with your message writer that the solution acts last night were good, and the only thing I want them to fix, you see, the transportation issue, that shuttle business, fix it, man, fix it.
You're saying it's not helping things as much as it should. It's not making.
Let me tell you, a whole lot of confusion. You bought a shuttle at whatever point, and the shuttle is supposed to pick you up. It drops you right outside of the entrance to the venue. But when the show is finished, you gotta walk all the way down to where they have not had any parking to allow for the VIPs to move out. And it was a total confusion.
Okay.
So we want them to fix that by tomorrow.
Let me ask you something. Do you believe that in certain areas, say you're having something at Pigeon Island, in Soufre, that we can make use of sea shuttle, a little, boat kind of service and so on to take people up and down so that the roads don't have to take so much pressure and so on. Do you think this would help? I'm just thinking Soufre as an example. The venue is not far from the seafront, okay? It's right there. So maybe instead of all the pressure on our roads,
let's not go all the way to Soufre, but we can do the city circuit. And the other thing, there should be security people, because people's vehicles should be secured. I heard that there were some incidents on people's vehicles in Soufre, so these little things need to be looked into and tapped into, because the patrons are really frustrated. coming from the show at the time that they did and having to walk that distance to get the shuttle that was supposed to have dropped them right outside.
Okay.
Through no fault of the government.
That's why I'm saying we need to consider a little ferry service for those things and so on.
There is a ferry service. Shelton.
But does it have the carrying? Does it have the carrying capacity to make a difference? That's what I'm saying.
Well, Silom is a ferry qui a value Silo carrying capacity. Even the land on ferry that transporte tout monde. England Lapid Unitis ferry cachaye tout monde. C'est toi ça mon
Yeah, it may be something, for example, that the visitors would be particularly interested in, because it would add to the whole tourist experience, and
Yes, there isn't it already the ferry service, but then for it to be we should also consider that from a distance, like Bette Midler from a distance. You know what I'm saying? But all in all, Shelton, jazz is proper. Jazz is perfect. All that needs to be worked on for. I want to take this opportunity to big up the police officer, the female police officer who, under the stress, approached a patron who was also under the stress of having to have walked from the venue down all the way by landings to get the shuttle that was supposed to have picked them up. And the way she pushed her, and when the lady challenged her on it, she apologized profusely. And I think that was really very big of her. So let's say big up to her. The only thing is I didn't get her number. But then, Shelton, jazz is big. Kiteyo mahikoyo. Oui. Bye-bye.
Okay. All right. Someone has just messaged, say what Cornelia is talking about, the shuttle. I didn't experience it because I left after 3 songs from Donnie McClurkin. So for me, the shuttle was excellent. And someone else has said there is a sea shuttle from Point Seraphine. Okay, I know there is. I'm just saying, can we make greater use of it? In other words, if we shuttling 300, whatever, can we do something to make sure the sea shuttle plays an even bigger part? And, like I said, jazz is a vibe. Make the sea shuttle and so on part of a vibe, a heavily promoted vibe, a vibe that, people will consider enjoyable as it is affordable, because we really need, especially on our roads in the north and so on. And I'm assuming Soufre again because of the approaches to it and all the bends and all of that you can avoid it. If we can make that vibe a much bigger part of it, so that you take some of the pressure off the roads, because I think you understand where I'm coming from with all of this. All right, 724-7325 and 4533911. We'll take one caller and then we'll go for the break, right? Okay. Hi, caller, you're on there. Go ahead.
How you doing? All right, I'm good.
Yeah.
That shuttle thing, people want to understand how a shuttle works. The shuttle takes you to the grounds, right? You're given 2 tickets. One to go, one to come back. So when you take that shuttle, if the shuttle takes you directly to the park, right? After the event, with the amount of patrons that are there, it is not wise for the same shuttle buses to come up to pick up people at the park.
Right.
Understand?
As they're going to contribute to a lot of congestion there, yeah.
What they were told to do, that they have to walk down and assemble in that large area by the landing, that area in the corner there. They have to assemble there, and that's where the shuttle buses pick them up. Because you can't expect the shuttle buses to be coming up to Pigeon Point with the amount of people that are walking down that road. Understand?
Yes.
So it is advisable that after the event that patrons walk down to the corner by the landing, that large area there, and that's where you are picked up.
Okay.
So it's not an issue where the shuttle abandons them. Some people choose not to air, I don't understand, but that's how it is.
I understand your point, because if the shuttle were to come back to pick up people at the same point that it dropped them off, which is the gate of the venue, whatever, they would be contributing to congestion, Yeah, I understand your point. Thank you. All right, this is the Real Issues. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll continue taking the calls and reading the message.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
McDowell's Supplements, an effective way to ensure you and your loved ones are getting the daily recommended intake of essential vitamins, minerals, and other important nutrients necessary for optimal health. Naturally, we carry an array of health and wellness supplements. McDowell's Immune Booster enhances your body's defense to fight colds and flu, boosts your immune system, prevents viruses and other airborne diseases. McDowell's Colon Cleanser prevents constipation, helps in removing toxins from the colon, detoxifies the body, and regulates your bowel movements. McDowell's Prostate Health prevent the enlargement of the prostate, improve urinary flow, and reduce frequent urination, especially at night. Moringa oleifera capsules are rich in minerals like calcium, potassium, zinc, magnesium, iron, and copper, vitamins like beta-carotene, vitamin A, vitamin B such as folic acid, vitamin C, D, and E. McDowell's Potassium Complex, used for treating and preventing low potassium levels, high blood pressure, preventing stroke, and aid in weight loss. McDowell's Triple Magnesium relaxes the muscles, relieves cramps and helps to control high blood pressure, improves sleep, and can calm the nerves. Magnesium is very important for the normal functioning of cells, nerves, muscles, bones, and the heart. McDowell's Ginger Turmeric helps to relieve pain, decrease nausea and enhance the immune function to help protect against illness and infection. Ginger turmeric has powerful anti-inflammatory properties and improves your circulation. Don't hold health back. Let health strike back. McDowell's, the better way to start your health. Visit Health Service Center, John Compton Highway, call 453-6417. Let your wellness be our stress.
Why are you suffering from aches, pains, and illnesses? When there's help for you. At Health Service Center, we offer a wide range of treatment that has been scientifically proven to help you with your aches, pains, and illnesses. Our ICT machine is one of the most effective devices in the health field. It has shown positive results in many health problems, such as back pains, shoulder pains, migraine headaches, pain in the knees and legs, poor circulation, arthritis, diabetic neuropathy, numbness in the feet, strokes and sports injuries. ICT, repairs, rebuild, the power to heal, the future of pain relief.
Live streaming has become one of the best ways to connect the funeral of a loved one with friends and family, both local and international. NBC Television will live stream your funerals on television and Facebook at a reasonable rate. With our state-of-the-art equipment, you can be assured that the quality of your funeral will be to your satisfaction. Call our office now and book your obituary and streaming with us. 758-453-7458.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
Good afternoon to those of you who are on the Facebook Live. Marie Blanchard Green and Oswald Belmar, who asked, is there a custodial sentence or a fine for persons who contravene any of the provisions of the Act? I'm going to have to forward that question to Mr. Esley Lafay. I know this is in reference to what we're asking him about, persons who try to pull a fast one where the Trade Licensing Act is concerned. So I'll flag this one and maybe send it to him. Ken Joseph, good afternoon to you as well. And Solange James, Magdalene Daniel says last night the shuttle was excellent for her. She has more to say later. We'll see if we can get to that. Good afternoon to you. Adela Seeley as well. And Oswald Belma adds there should be a waiver if it is considered that the waiver is beneficial to the economic needs of the country or public interest. And I think he's talking about those who require a trade license. So I don't know, given the money that's involved, I don't think it's going to make all that difference, but of course we never know. Paulinda Augustine says thanks for the edification, Mr. Lafay, that is the Director of Trade and Industry who was our guest earlier on the program. Valence Charles, good afternoon to you as well, and thank you so very much for being here with us. Oswald Belma, this is I suppose a subject in which he has great interest. He says once you have a license, you must follow the rules. This means you might not be able to change your business easily. Okay, I don't know if it's related to, but I once knew a Mr. Belma, who I think was a businessman. Used to see him in the ramparts of the M&C building in Castries, now the Blue Coral building and so on. And so maybe Oswald has connections to him. He seemed to have been one of the pillars of local business and investment here, based upon just my impression at the time, of him coming, always stopping by the M&C bookshop to read the comics and all of that, what I could off the shelf. Let me see this. Solange James says, our youth have great performances at Serenity Park. Our youth are very talented. And Magdalene Daniel says, my son is there doing a huge painting with his students at SMC. Yes, do have a couple of my sons who are very good at painting and all of that. And one of them happens to be a teacher at St. Mary's College. So now he's got students under his wing, teaching them. He's an art teacher at St. Mary's College. Teaching those now under his wing what he himself learned under the hands of others, develop people like Ted Sandiford, so really would like to say thanks to all of them and glad to see that they're making their contribution. Magdalene, speaking to Cornelia Jacobs, says Cornelia walking all that way down was done at the very end because I got the shuttle at the gates because I left after 3 songs by Donnie McClurkin. And she says Donnie McClurkin wasn't all that last night. I think he's tired. And I believe it is something that we have to expect from people who are in such great demand, who are being booked all the time, every time, in so many different places, that they might be a little jaded. So we may find, a lot of those top flight, acts and people who are just so famous that when they do land at our shores, that maybe they don't give the best because they are jaded. They are, they're tired. They are just barely struggling to stay on their feet and so on. So, you never know what really is going on. I don't think they're deliberately not delivering what they promised or what we expected of them. All right, we're still taking your calls, 724-7325 and 4533-911, the number to dial. I see we have the Real FM Facebook Live. Is it possible, Jaquan, that I can get the MBC one? I have to toggle between the two of them to see how we are doing, especially on a day like today when the Senate is in session. And, we know that people will also be trying to follow there as best as they can. All right, I was reading something about the climate situation earlier on and what a scientist has to say. A scientist called Dr. Ruth Cerezo Mota of Mexico. And she says that in Merida on the Yucatan Peninsula where she lives, the heat is ramping up. Last summer we had around 47 degrees Celsius maximum. Now when I read that, I was really stunned and startled. People living in a place, the body temperature is 37. The normal, I think, human body temperature is 37 degrees Celsius. To be living in a place where the air temperature, the outside temperature, the surrounding temperature is 10 degrees higher than your body temperature. To me, this is the perfect recipe. This is the perfect condition for a person to suffer from heat stress and heat stroke, because your body regulates its temperature by releasing its heat to the atmosphere. Hi, caller, go ahead.
How are you, Mr. Shelton?
Yeah, doing okay. How about you?
Well, it's less consciousness, but it's good.
Yeah, I'm hearing you kind of very faintly.
I say you cannot get everything you want. It's a bit quiet, but it's very good.
Yeah, okay.
Let me again. The last time I talked on your show, I had asked for a prayer for the Prime Minister, but I believe a lot of people didn't go my way, but they are doing it in a different kind of a way, because right now everybody is seeing the same thing. This man was kept in the wilderness for a while before we land him on earth for him, especially earth in St. Lucia, for him to do what he's doing there now. He's doing miracles. But let me say this to you. There is one thing I want from my government. There is certain behaviors and respect that we have to abide to. And the citizens of the state of St. Lucia must understand the head of state and the second head of state of this sort have certain respect that must go to them in certain areas in life. Because I was very, very depressed with the thing about the arrest of SBI and everything. Only in St. Lucia, I remember, Shelton, some 3 years ago, when a guy from Soufrière said something about Chasney, and the then commissioner of police, that was, how you call him there, he's living at Cape State right now. He's from Grand Riviere. He was already on the way to arrest this guy, because they believed that this guy had threatened the Prime Minister based on words. Well, there was nothing that to say that he was around and he rushed and nothing like that. But the respect that we need in this country for these UWE surrogates, we need to have a stop to that. Because, Shelton, when you are desperate, you look for any kind of mud to stick on any kind of glass. Although the thieves, when I was on the ship, a Jamaican showed me that if you want to break a glass, you take flour and you mix it and you put it on the glass and you knock it and it sticks on it. But these guys, they will do anything they can to destroy our government. Because the issue that we have is not that the government is not doing well now. There is everything they have been tried is been resisted in a kind of way by that Prime Minister. What he does is sit down, he listened, and he find a cure for all kind of disease that is coming at him. And I want to say this with my own less opinion. I heard Guy Joseph talking about that he wants a meeting or what sort with he wants to see the contract with GPH. But let me say this. I was in the ceremony. I was sitting there when the chairman of GPH was making his comments. He says that he has been in St. Lucia for the last 6 years. Labour has not been in power for 6 years. Labour have been in power for over two and a half years. So then that means, well, these guys was talking to these people for over 2 years. So I really tried to find out, and I did find out long before, what was the problem that keeps these guys from, those that get these guys from not signing an agreement like this, knowing full well that when they got into power, within about 4 to 5 weeks, 4 to 5 months, they signed the contract with Theo Akim and them. And this one, they had refused to sign the contract. But it was a simple thing, Shelton, very simple. The simple thing is that what the guys wanted out of that, they are the ones to provide the contract to build the different things. That's what they wanted. And the guy which was responsible, Mr. Sean, insists that he has his own local contractor on the ground which he has confidence in. He will be the one that is building the thing. And these guys was brought in about 3 or 4 times to sign that contract. And then they had to be turned away just because of that. Now, for Guy today to say what he was saying there, I find that was shocked. Very shocking. Because you remember when they got into power, they found money there to build a 4-lane highway to Grosili. Stephenson King said he went up to Kuwait and met with the people and everything was on par to give them the money. And on the way coming back, he received a phone call from Guy, one of them, or from the Prime Minister, saying that they want to redirect the money. So, Shelton, is this kind of behavior and this kind of nonsense, are we going to continue with that? I want the PM to stay away from not even answering Guy or Shasney. The PM right now, there has people like me and on the ground that understand that business well and can understand it. What GPH is doing there right now there, this year at FCCA, was my friends up there from Trinidad told me that was the biggest trade show when it comes to DPH in Miami they had ever seen before. I mean, there was guys from St. Lucia that they told me they had some kind of resistance towards this deal with DPH. But when they came back from Miami, they have nothing to say. You have a company that runs 33 ports around the world. You are reluctant to do business with them because you have something to be afraid of. What are you afraid of? They are the one right now there that the cruise ships are coming to. They are the ones now, Puerto Rico right now, they are in Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is like the main branch to send people to the Eastern Caribbean. What is the problem? So, colleagues, let me thank you, Shelton, for giving me that chance. Yeah. But I'm saying I don't talk often like before. But
let me ask you something for your opinion on something. Yeah. When you mentioned that you will advise the Prime Minister, don't take on, let people like you handle that. What do you think about the Calypsonian saying that we're talking about Alan too much, even though he admitted that even he himself singing about him, and actually he mentioned in his name quite a lot in the song. But I see that the UWP has actually taken that Calypso and they're using it on their page, to promote, Alan do this, Alan do that, and to show all the different things. What do you think about this chat about we giving him too much mention?
We are not giving him too much mention. We must, when you are at war, there is certain ways and means you have to fight a war. You don't fight a war by all your good men have to be at the front line. So when a bomb comes in, we lose all the expertise that we need, and those that is outside of this have to fight with fellows that have everything in them. What I'm saying is that everybody that have common sense, that understands what is going on in St. Lucia, knows who Alan is. Alan have not changed yesterday, today, and day after tomorrow. All what Alan is doing, it is playing on the minds of the poor people in St. Lucia. Now, what they have been doing to counteract that is that giving the people what they never had in their life, giving them the life that they had never seen before, showing them that they are part of the development of this country, where they are right now a critical part of the other one that plant, especially the older ones, that plant the mango trees, the sapoti trees, the passion fruit. We are reaping the reward of our ancestors, what they did in our time. Right now, all Pierre is doing is showing the people the gratitude, the respect, and the love that he saw from them and what they do to us now. Because we are really living, I would say, on the last days when I looked at it. But I am still saying that this, after the pandemic, what I saw in this country, the way all of us go back to the land, I was doing coconut oil. I was doing everything I could have done to put my hands on for my family to live. I was doing it. You know why I was doing it? Is because of my ancestors, my father, my grandmother. Although I lose my mother because of wickedness, but I still have the love in my heart. Because my grandmother, my mother today, if she was in this world, to see what Pierre is doing now, after the sacrifice that she did in Grosile for the Labour Party, but they took her life away from her, and I didn't like it, but now I am very, very comfortable with what Pierre is doing as a replacement and a payment to my family. Thank you, Shelton.
All right. Someone has messaged and said, in fact, that song is being used for exactly the purpose it was intended. Thank you very much, Nobby. Appreciate it. All right. We're still taking a couple calls. We have another one on the line. Hi. Good afternoon. Real Issues.
Yes, Mr. Daniel. How do you do?
I'm doing okay. And you?
I'm good. I have a little, I'm getting a little hit these days. So, we are a little bit not equal, because I know you're on the grill. I'm not on the grill yet.
That's that. Where you are in the world, that's probably welcome, quite welcome.
Okay, thank you.
Because you know it's for
Yes.
it's for a little while. Like then Fuidia Kavia Kodisika Sezizo, eh?
Well, Sakaila Jemwe, I'll be where you are in 1st of July.
Not too long. Okay.
And by the end of September, the leaves will be all down, orange, red,
okay.
and any other color.
Okay.
My contribution is we have to keep focused. We have to be vigilant. Do not take Alan lightly. When one is desperate, he will do any and everything. Don't forget, he has divided us. He's the first prime minister to divide us. He has divided our people. He has gotten them so bitter. They cannot see each other. They can't tolerate each other. They don't see eye to eye on nothing. People, we have to be very, very, very careful with that man around us. And St. Lucians, you all know what is for you and what is against you. But there are some people in St. Lucia, due to the little crumbs that they get, they will try to influence everybody that will suffer for their crumbs. Don't take that for granted. Watch Alan, because if you ask me, Guy and Alan had plans that wharf that is supposed to be built there. It was Guy's intention he would get that job. He would get a big piece of that pie. Now will that company come in? And there's something Philip JPA is doing in the house that I don't like, and other ministers too, especially Philip JPA. He's counting too many millions, and that does not fall well with Guy. When he brings out the figures.
When you say he's counting too many millions, what do you mean?
When he talks of the figures during the budget, Guy, he loves millions.
So should Philip JPA condition himself and basically express himself with Guy Joseph in mind, that it's it will do something to Guy Joseph whatever, or should he just concentrate on being accurate and telling the truth?
No, it's provoking Guy, because when Guy had these figures and he have no piece of the pie, that is what gets him angry.
Okay, well if that is what making Guy cry, then you have a lot of crying to do.
Well said, well spoken. Have a good day.
Yeah.
Well said, well spoken. Okay. Have a good day. Yeah. He knows well. He have a lot of crying to do because grass will start to go in his equipment.
Si c'est a million na kata na zo il y a qui ka fait cry. Eh ben mon gars do in your shy cry pour faire toujours. Thank you very much, Maria. All right, we have another call on the line. Hi, good afternoon, Real Issues.
Good afternoon, Shelton.
Good afternoon to you.
Yeah, I was listening to a program yesterday. You had a guy talking about there is financing for small businesses.
Actually, I think it was Tuesday. Yesterday we didn't have I don't think any guests. So it would have been Tuesday, and I think you're talking about Mr. What's his name? Mr. Ali. Yeah, Mr.
Yes, Sheldon.
Mr. Ali, the head of SEDU, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. My question to you: if you have a small business and you need finance to like update it, would that organization will be able to assist you in doing that?
I think so. I don't think it has to be a new business or a startup. I think you have an enterprise. You need to upgrade it. You need to acquire equipment. You need to put it on a solid footing. There's nothing which says that it has to be a startup or an entirely new enterprise. I don't think so. As a matter of fact, if you already have a head start and you need, some resources and some in the form of equipment and that kind of thing, what you need to do is to call them Small Enterprise Development Unit, SEDU. They're an old institution, and let them explain to you what kind of support they can give you.
What's the name of the entity?
It's SEDU. SEDU, we often say Small Enterprise Development Unit. In the Ministry, SEDU, in the Ministry of Commerce.
Okay, so they are in government building water fund?
Yeah, they are government departments.
You have a number for them, Shelton?
Well, not right now as I'm talking to you, but it can easily be found in the directory or by calling the government switchboard, which I think is 311. Call 311 and tell them to put you through to Sedu.
Okay then, buddy. Thank you so much.
Yeah, okay, you're welcome, man.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Okay, Jaquan had already told me this was going to be our last call. I look at the clock, it says 2 o'clock. We have to wrap it up here. We have advertising commitments that we have to respect and honor. Thank you very much, Jaquan. Thank you, everyone. Turned out a lot better than I thought it would have been with the Senate and all of that. We had a good, lengthy interview, of course, with the Director of Trade and Industry, Mr. Esley Lafay. So that really helped us along quite a lot. Until tomorrow, same time, we'll have someone else, another guest on the program tomorrow, and tell you this one is going to be absolutely riveting, informative, educational, interesting. You don't want to miss that tomorrow. Same time, 12:30 to 2. The Real Issues. Shelton Daniel signing out.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with big issues. Real Issues, 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
McDowell's Supplements, an effective way to ensure you and your loved ones are getting the daily recommended intake of essential vitamins, minerals, and other important nutrients necessary for optimal health. Naturally, we carry an array of health and wellness supplements. McDowell's Immune Booster enhances your body's defense to fight colds and flu, boosts your immune system, prevents viruses and other airborne diseases. McDowell's Colon Cleanser prevents constipation, helps in removing toxins from the colon, detoxifies the body, and regulates your bowel movements. McDowell's Prostate Health prevent the enlargement of the prostate, improve urinary flow, and reduce frequent urination, especially at night. Moringa oleifera capsules are rich in minerals like calcium, potassium, zinc, magnesium, iron, and copper, vitamins like beta-carotene, vitamin A, vitamin B such as folic acid, vitamin C, D, and E. McDowell's Potassium Complex, used for treating and preventing low potassium levels, high blood pressure, preventing stroke, and aid in weight loss. McDowell's Triple Magnesium relaxes the muscles, relieves cramps and helps to control high blood pressure, improves sleep, and can calm the nerves. Magnesium is very important for the normal functioning of cells, nerves, muscles, bones, and the heart. McDowell's Ginger Turmeric helps to relieve pain, decrease nausea and enhance the immune function to help protect against illness and infection. Ginger turmeric has powerful anti-inflammatory properties and improves your circulation. Don't hold health back. Let health strike back. McDowell's, the better way to start your health. Visit Health Service Center, John Compton Highway, call 453-6417. Let your wellness be our stress.
Why are you suffering from aches, pains, and illnesses? When there's help for you. At Health Service Center, we offer a wide range of treatment that has been scientifically proven to help you with your aches, pains, and illnesses. Our ICT machine is one of the most effective devices in the health field. It has shown positive results in many health problems, such as back pains, shoulder pains, migraine headaches, pain in the knees and legs, poor circulation, arthritis, diabetic neuropathy, numbness in the feet, strokes and sports injuries. ICT, repairs, rebuild, the power to heal, the future of pain relief.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with big issues. Real Issues, 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.